My dad used to have an expression. He'd say, don't tell me what you value. Show me your budget, and I will tell you what you value. Look, you know what's coming, folks. You know what's coming from the Republicans. They're going to talk about after this, matter of fact, and you're going to see on some of the shows after this is all over, that Joe Biden, Michelle Obama, 4 distinguished governors, 4 incredible women with a story, all they talked about was how we're going to spend more money. There's typical tax and spend Democrats. That's what this is going to be. And they're going to try to scare the rest of America into the notion that we are going to try to put together things that are well beyond our economic reach. And we're going to send those people who may not be facing the same problems that you heard up here into the poorhouse. Just let me give you one simple answer. One simple example. The health care plan that Barack put together, and during the campaign we were running, we had the same plan. We both were together on that, even though we were debating each other. But I'm serious. You take a look at what, just leave aside the billions we can save by preventative medicine, as Michelle knows a great deal about. No one argues that we would be unable to provide adequate health care for all Americans if we were to spend between $100 and $110 billion a year. They say, oh my God, how can we spend $110 billion a year? That's what you hear the Republicans say. Well, here's my question. How can you tell me, as a party, how can you tell me, my friend John and whoever he picks as his vice president, how can you tell me you're the party that values people when you, in fact, this year are going to, through your tax policy, give people who make an average income of $1.42 million a year over $100 billion in tax breaks? Now, I'm not making this up. This is literally factual. Now tell me, next time in your lovely neighborhood, somebody says to you, we can't afford this, and say, let me ask you a question. What is the greater obligation of the country? To give some very, very wealthy people who are good people an additional $100 billion in tax cuts, or provide health care for every American and solve every story you heard up here? Ladies and gentlemen, it's not that, I'm not looking, this is not an applause. I really think we got to let this sink into Democrats. This is not something that is beyond our reach. It's all about what your priorities are. What are your priorities? And I'll end with this point. I've spent a lot of time in the United States Senate. I was chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee for 17 years, or ranking member or chairman. I presided over more Supreme Court hearings as a chairman, and as many as anyone, including Ted Kennedy and Strom Thurmond before he passed away. I've been in some of the most incredible battles for the future of the country. And lots of times people ask me, why is the Supreme Court so important? Literally. Why would you risk your career to try to stop someone from getting on the Supreme Court? Well, ladies and gentlemen, other than ending the war in Iraq, the single most significant thing that Barack Obama will do, and I hope I'll be able to help him, will be to determine who the next members of the Supreme Court are going to be. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I got in trouble and Barack got in trouble as senators when I said if you put a really very decent, brilliant man named Roberts and another decent guy who's a brilliant guy named Alito, I said if you, they're really bright guys. But I said at the time and got beat up for saying it, if you put them on the court, mark my words, the basic civil rights and civil liberties of America are going to be in jeopardy. This is the first, no, this is not an applause line. The first court since Brown versus the Board of Education that they began to try to roll back. Brown versus the Board of Education. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys and women are very smart. They believe what they say. They are ideologues. They want to change the way in which we as Americans, most Americans believe we have a right to run our lives. So folks, within the next 4 years, the actuarial tables tell us there's going to be at least one and maybe as many as 3 new Supreme Court justices. That court will live longer than an Obama-Biden administration when we serve for 8 years. It will live longer. It will affect the lives of all your children. So folks, remember, when you go out there, it's not merely a woman's right to choose which is at stake. It's whether or not you are going to be able to have a fair shot at a fair wage. It's whether or not you are going to be able to demand that you are treated equally in every aspect of your life. It is literally, literally, literally at stake. So please help us. Please help us. The country needs Barack Obama as president.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get this done. Thank you.